Hi everybody, question. How would you rate COP27 out of 10?
I would rate it with a 6.
I'd go a little bit lower, maybe with a 5.
I was thinking of a 6 myself.
I would agree with Lars. I would also go with a 5.
I'm Jeremy, and those are my guests on the latest Euronews Climate Now panel discussion asking what's next after COP27? What needs to happen now?
We need to do things that were previously, unthinkable. That's really the mode we need to be in. We're in the middle of an emergency and we need to treat it as such.
So what needs to happen is for this curve to level off and eventually stabilize, if not decreasing. And the only way we know about that is to reduce our emission.
And I think one of the lessons learned from this COP is that we still need to go further in multilateralism with a multilateral approach. We have to insist on climate diplomacy. And Europe, we have been saying that we are the leaders in the fight against climate change, but we also have to act as ones, as a leader.
I agree very much with what Lídia said. We need much more active climate diplomacy.
Okay, well, let's look at one of the positive outcomes from COP27. All parties agreed to open discussions on a fund to pay for loss and damage from climate change-related disasters.
I just want to stress that it is a breakthrough. It really is a breakthrough for the civil society organizers, people in the global south who've been campaigning for this for years and years, for decades.
I think it's also exciting from a prospect of climate science, because it imposes on us a new challenge, a new responsibility to make this attribution statement or put in the context of climate change some of the extreme events that we have seen happening.
However,
if we don't have the necessary steps towards climate mitigation, whatever we do on loss and damage will be just with, a one-off approach, because we are not dealing with the problem in a sustainable way.
Well, that's the problem, of course. We're all flying off to Sharm el-Sheikh to talk about how we're going to combat climate change. And meanwhile, greenhouse gas concentrations are just going up in our atmosphere.
This is a graphic that we're talking about, and this tells you the problem that we're up against. So this spans about 15 years of COP discussion and pledging this, that, and the other, and we can see that we are on a very steady increase, actually, in both CO2 and methane.
The trajectory that we're on is off, and so we need to do a lot more. And I think here, again, the science is clear on the fact that we need to phase out fossil fuels. There are certain things that we need to do in order to get to where we should be getting. And that's, I think, still very much, it has been brought in the discussion, but it's still missing to a large extent in the negotiations, for example.
In the full-length version of this video, you can get a great breakdown from Mia on where we're really heading in terms of global warming if we apply all of the climate pledges that are in place. We also hear from Carlo and Lars Peter on the importance of scientific observations on the ground and up in space to tie down exactly where carbon emissions are coming from and when. And Lídia gives us an insight into what it's like to be a politician at one of these climate summits. And in the meantime, you can follow climate news on euronews.com/climate now, and like us, grab something warm and woolly, cut down your heating and do your bit to save energy. I note, Carlo, that you've just gone and put on a sweater, which must mean that you've turned down the heating. I'm also wearing my green jumper here. Here at Euronews, we've cut the heating. We're trying to do our bit. And honestly, it's cold. What does it
in the parliament as well?
Really? Okay.
Yes.
We got no hot water. Everybody's walking around with a scarf.